The dust has settled on the Mortal Kombat 1 reveal trailer, and now that we've had time to analyze it a bit, sit with it, let it really sink in, I figured this would be a good time to go back through it in a more detailed manner and see what kind of tiny little details people may have missed. Now, before we do that, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe because you're not going to miss any of the content that we're putting out leading to Mortal Kombat 1. We're going to be covering everything. So let's take a look. This is a 4K quality video, so it's really easier to see the details that maybe you didn't see right away on the first time through.
It is time. Time.
All right, so first off, we clearly get, Raiden here. He's wearing blue, white, so it's Raiden in his typical colors. He's got his old school hat, which is awesome to see. Obviously this is going back to the beginning, possibly, the Mortal Kombat 1 tournament or the very first Mortal Kombat 1 tournament, but I think there's some details in here that's going to kind of give us an idea of where we are in terms of time.
Time to wake up to a new reality. To a blank canvas that I have painted in with warmth and peace.
So it sounds like, just for a synopsis here, Liu Kang, Fire God Liu Kang, has completely created his own new world from a fresh slate, clean canvas, fresh canvas, clean slate. I don't know. And it's completely anew. So everything's going to be changed. We learned from the website that basically characters are going to be different. They're going to have new relationships, new roles. So as we knew them before, may not be necessarily how they are here. It's supposed to be an all new story being told.
In my new era, the choice is yours. Whether to live in quiet serenity.
So you'll notice right here that Kung Lao's hat does not have a blade on it. Could this be related to, or just based on the fact that it's supposed to be an era based on peace, a world, peace and quiet and harmony, no longer feuding, no longer violent, as we see Liu Kang say?
The choice is yours. Whether to live in quiet serenity or bloody strife.
Now you see some lightning in the background behind Raiden. Maybe that's foreshadowing, because we're led to believe that maybe this is more of a human Raiden without his powers, or a mortal Raiden, I should say. But we don't really know that yet. That's just assumption based on the fact that how we saw 11 end. But Ed Boon has alluded that maybe this isn't a continuation from 11. Rather, this is a completely new world, new, fresh story. Yes, we have Fire God Liu Kang, but that's just the start. That's the start of his character this time, rather than something that he's continuing to do following 11. One thing you'll also notice on these attires, we have a lot of seams. This was pointed out on Twitter. You can see seams running down the middle of the mask, all this detail that you wouldn't normally get in the games prior. Now, this is undoubtedly a CG trailer, so are the models going to look this detailed in the game? Maybe not, but I think it's going to be very close. But yeah, seams. You can even see one right on Kung Lao's hat here. So for all the cosplayers out there, you don't have to create these crazy, unrealistic attires that are hard to achieve logistically. Now you're going to have seams to be able to make it make sense and make it actually structured.
Whether
So
to
that's
live
pretty cool.
in quiet serenity
Turn it down just a tad, just in case.
or bloody strife.
So now we see some. That's an interesting thing on Katana's ear there. It's I'm guessing that's just a type of piercing. It's like armor for her ear, which is funny. And then we've got her design on the forehead, the neck design. One thing you'll notice with the design so far that we see in this trailer are everything is fairly simple. Like the outfits are much more like just normal clothes that somebody would actually wear, rather than just these fantastical superhero outfits that we've seen a lot of times in the past. which is great. Obviously, a healthy mix is nice. Okay, so then when we get to here, we can see Katana's peeking out, and this looks like Adinia. I know there's some speculation. Is this Outworld? What is this? This definitely looks like Adinia. The lush greens and then the just architecture in the background. It's very much that like lush island aesthetic. That absolutely feels like Adinia. And she's peeking out, trying to see what's going on. Maybe she's looking out. There's been theories that maybe because we see Melina here, is Melina raised up on a platform whereas Katana's lower? You can see Katana's feet are touching the base of this cart, whereas Melina's aren't. They're more up on this platform, and you can also see that there is this like red carpet almost that goes down from her seat. So there's speculation that maybe in this timeline, in this universe, Melina is actually the princess of Adinia instead of Katana, and Katana's her bodyguard.
Is prosperity or bitter rivalry?
And you'll notice, so Melina's outfit's a little bit more over-designed. It's got more details going on, lots of weird things, sharp edges, and so on and so forth, armor going on. So that says to me that maybe we're not getting all simple outfits. I would be surprised if we don't see alternate attires, throughout the game, or even gear, though they don't highlight gear in any of the marketing. So I think that's a good sign, because I'd prefer there to be less gear, at least less padded gear, less fluff. In Mortal Kombat 11, it felt like there was just gear for the sake of gear. Each slot had like 300 pieces to unlock, and a lot of them just were barely different from each other. So I think that would be the way to go, is have less of that stuff, but have it be higher quality and more unique. So let's hope that that is the case. And then you'll see right here, Melina's mouth. Oh, and also a fun little detail on this little design right here. You can see what looks to be interlocking sharp teeth. So that's pretty cool. Okay. And then on here, no MKX lips. So and then MK11, which was, I feel like it was non-canon. She was back to her normal mouth. But yes, no lips like we got with Mortal Kombat X. So classic fans of Melina rejoice. It is back to the regular old Tarkatan mouth, not the weird lips that they gave her for some reason in MKX. And then she kind of gives like a slight scowly look towards Katana. So I don't know if they're still going to play up a rivalry between the two. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping this is going to be our story where Katana and Melina are actually on the same side. And Melina, is maybe fighting for the side of good. I think that would be unique and something fresh. So I'm hoping that's the case. Once again, more seams. She's got kind of what Katana's going on with the armor on the going towards from the top of the mask across. Now notice in Scorpion's eyes here, he has pupils. These are not his undead Scorpion eyes. These are regular Hanzo Hazashi eyes. So it's presumed we could maybe guess that he isn't dead yet. He has not been killed. Like I said, this has to be fairly early on. Ed Boon said on Twitter that we're going to be seeing all sorts of origins for characters. This is basically an origin story game for this entire world and the characters within it. So I would assume Scorpion has not yet died and become the Hell Spectre. Okay, so let's rewind that just a tad. You can see right there the logo on the back here. It doesn't really stick out as anything. It looks like it might be a scorpion of sorts. So it's already kind of hinting towards, his scorpion namesake, his mantle. But no, nothing really sticks out in terms of what the design is hinting at beyond that.
Each other.
Okay, and there's been speculation on
You can face each other.
when is the time period of is this happening? You'll notice right here, if you pay attention to right here on the screen, there's a fan going. So just like a box fan, like an old school box fan, you know, like something you would see in the 80s or 90s. So there is definitely electricity and technology within this world. They're probably in just a more primitive, kind of off remote location in the mountains, as we've seen. So that's probably why it is the way it is, where everything feels more old school aesthetic instead of modern times, I guess you would say. But this is definitely, this is not pre-industrial era or anything like that. It's definitely it's got modern to a degree technology. So you see that fan there? Then you see up here at the top right, you can see more, light bulbs and stuff. Right back here as well. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite set as anti-technology as people were kind of thinking it would be from the get-go. So things like cyborgs and the like, I think are still on the table. Cyber ninjas and all that fun stuff. You can also notice right here, he's got his rope back, so it's no longer a chain. Hallelujah. We're getting back to the original design for Scorpion, which was the rope dart spear for him. So that's pretty cool. A little minor detail. It's hard to see what kind of pattern is on that. It doesn't really stick out once again. It's not Lin Kuei. A lot of people were thinking that we'd be getting Scorpion into Lin Kuei, or people were thinking that this little pin up here was Lin Kuei. I don't think so either. Let's see if we can get a better look.
As sworn enemies.
So Sub-Zero clearly has some Lin Kuei signage going on. He's got one on his arm and he's got one on his lapel there.
Or united.
So you can clearly see it right there. But then you look over here and that does not look like the same thing he's got going on over here. So I don't think.
As brothers.
And I'll try and get a better image of that to put up on this video, but I don't think that is the Lin Kuei symbol, like some are speculating. Yeah, it just doesn't share the same details. All right. And then you'll notice that their outfits, once again, like I mentioned before at the beginning of the video, their outfits are so much simpler. And Scorpion's got red still, carrying that on from MK11, where he's got red as like an accent color, yellow, black, and then some red undershirt. It's a dark red. It's like a dark and slightly muted red, but he's got that as an undershirt as well as on his belt. And it does mention that they are brothers. Now, that could be taken literally or it can be taken figuratively, as if they are uniting as brothers, or as if they are brothers. But it could also mean they are literal brothers. People are wondering, why are they dressed so similar? Back to the palette swap days almost, but they have, strayed away from that over the years. Is it just for simplicity, or is it because they're part of the same group, or is it because they are literally connected family? We don't know yet, but I could easily see something like that being the case. So right here, I think you can almost insinuate that maybe this is Bi-Han and not Kuao Yang, because it would make much more sense that if Scorpion's going to be potentially related to Sub-Zero, like actually blood related, or even just things have changed in a more peaceful world, then we would have not gotten Bi-Han killed and made into Noob Saibot. So this could be our Sub-Zero for the game, at least initially.
As brothers.
All right, and then we see this in the sky. This could be the sign that the first tournament's starting, or maybe it's the big bad threat. I don't think that's the portal that we see Shang Tsung come in on later. But yeah, I could see this being whatever, doomsday-like threat or whatever big thing threatening this peaceful world. That could be this in the sky. Maybe it's even Fire God Liu Kang's symbol, and this is the sign that he's arriving. I don't know. But, and then one other thing to note here, to continue on the technology end, there's a satellite here up on on the roof. So we can't be that far back in time in terms of when does this take place. This doesn't, I don't think this takes place in the Great Kung Lao era, as a lot of people think, like 500 years in the past, but before the original Mortal Kombat game took place. I think this is easily in the 80s or 90s. We're just in a more remote, removed from that type of stuff, more grounded in Asian culture type of aesthetic and village. Whereas, but this stuff still exists. So you could still have Johnny Cage, which we know is confirmed for the game. You could still have Johnny Cage and Hollywood and all that exist. You could still have the military and more modern weaponry. All of that stuff could still very well exist in this world. It's just, this is just one location. We're seeing one village here represented.
But a storm is
Now we'll notice Katana is the one to stick her head out of the cart here, and we can see it in this other shot too. She's right here. So this is Katana sticking her head out of the cart. So people have mentioned that they think Melina is maybe the princess. I mentioned that earlier in the video as well here in Adinia, but it's weird that Melina would be the one to step out while Katana stays in the cart. You would think if one's the bodyguard for the other, Katana would have gotten out and Melina would have stayed here, but they're both formidable warriors, so I'd imagine they're going to want to defend themselves. And it'd be interesting to see if this is maybe story mode. I think Ed Boon did mention on Twitter that this is indeed going to be like, this is our story mode here. I don't know if these are literally taken from story mode or if this was just a CG trailer made just to hype the game up, but I could easily see these moments happening in story mode. So it's interesting to see Melina be the one outside of the cart already. It's quite possible that they're on even keel. Maybe they're both princesses or ruling together as sisters. Let's continue on here. And then some questions arise, with Melina, like how is she created? Is if things have been changed in this new world, is she going to be created differently? Is Shang not going to be the one to create her? We'll have to see. And if Adinia is still around and it hasn't been conquered, what does that mean in terms of Shao Kahn and how Melina even becomes to be as well? So there's a lot of questions here to be answered that I'm really looking forward to diving into when story mode comes and the game and all that.
And soon you will discover that even in...
You also notice an amulet on Raiden's belt here. It looks very similar to the amulet that he has on like the when he goes back in time in MK9 or when he sends his message back and it cracks and all that. That looks like the same amulet. Now I'm hoping we're getting away from all timeline stuff. I'm hoping this is just a universe created by Fire God Liu Kang and he has no knowledge of the hourglass. They didn't mention anything about the hourglass here. We got it in the teasers where the grain of sand fell out and a big bang happened basically, but so far nothing of it in this trailer. So I'm hoping that it just does not exist in this world. This is just Fire God Liu Kang's creation, and that's it.
This new era, one constant remains.
You also notice with Fire God Liu Kang, his hair is black here, whereas in 11, when he became Fire God Liu Kang, it was white. So that's kind of interesting too. So maybe this is not the same Fire God Liu Kang. Like I said, maybe this isn't a continuation where we're really seeing Fire God Liu Kang from 11 continue on and create this new universe. Maybe it is just completely new universe where Fire God Liu Kang already exists. He is in the Raiden role and he's creating this from scratch.
One constant remains. There is always...
Now look at how young Shang Tsung looks. He looks basically like a baby. But yeah, he looks like mid-20s here, mid to late 20s. This is a very, very young Shang Tsung. So that's pretty cool. His design's a bit more heavy on the details, but I think it works for him. Like I said, I think a good variety is fine as long as you have some simple attires, some more complex. I love the yellow for the accents of his outfit. That black and yellow back to that MK3 look for him in terms of color scheme is really cool.
there is always something worth fighting for.
All right, and then it gets pretty brutal. So we have like a Wolverine claw here for Shang Tsung, which is interesting. I think this is like a pretty known weapon used in like old like samurai ninja type, weaponry, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool that they gave him it. It's definitely different, it's not the sword he had in like Deadly Alliance, right? So it'll be interesting to see how this plays. Though notice the green glowing vials here. Makes me think almost of like Scarecrow, right? So I'm wondering what that's doing. If it's it's got to be soul oriented, right? So I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out. And then on Melina here, you can notice, get back here. So she's got the shaved heads, of course, which are the shaved sides here, which I think looks great for her. And then she's got like these metal claw things. Yeah, she's got like these metal claw things coming over the back of her head, like it's almost holding her hair in place. I think it looks pretty cool. So Shang's doing all these fatalities. It's all the characters, except for Raiden is the only one he doesn't kill in this trailer. Well, of course, Liu, he doesn't manage to defeat, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to note. And then this looks so much like the newer movie that they made, right? This, how he's sucking the soul, it's not going into his hand or anything like that or into his chest. It's going just right into his mouth. This looks straight out of the movie. And even like this design and the face for Shang Tsung here looks very similar to the movie version that we got recently. And no coincidence that it's on Kung Lao. God, the eye. Just notice the eye there on Kung Lao. Jesus, the gore is just insane. It's just so detailed. It's gross. Okay, we got a sweet kick from Liu Kang there. You'll also notice like he doesn't always have the bladed claw thing. So right here he doesn't even have it on him. So yeah, it's not present at all. Then he has it later. Then he doesn't have it there, but he has it there. It's interesting. That would be the only hint towards maybe gear, but I hope that's not what that's supposed to mean. And I hope it's really not supposed to mean variations, because I don't think variations are supposed to be in this game, according to an interview Ed Boon did a little over a year ago, saying that they're not going to be doing variations in their next game just to mix it up.
You have chosen to defy peace. Then you have chosen war with a god.
Some have been concerned that this maybe is hinting towards Liu Kang that goes evil and he's going to be the villain of the game. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is just an example of Liu Kang being very much a protector, and he's not going to stand for any of this nonsense and somebody ruining his peace and this world that he's created, this non-violent world. So Shang Tsung is the constant that's trying to mess everything up. And honestly, I don't even think Shang Tsung's going to be the end boss in this game. I know the trailer almost kind of insinuates that, but I think he's going to be like the guy on the field trying to mess everything up, but there's going to be a higher power. Hopefully not Shao Kahn. But I think there's going to be a higher power, like people have hoped for a Naga coming back or something like that. So I think there's going to be somebody else that's putting him up to this task, whereas I don't think Liu Kang is going to be that ultimate villain. He just strikes me as somebody that's being ultra protective of his, what he's created. I don't see him as going aggressively against other people. What's cool is when these dragons form and come together, as they're dragging Shang up, it looks like one dragon head almost. Like I. So you have a blue fireside and a orange fireside. Looks pretty cool. And no doubt this is probably one of Liu Kang's fatalities in the actual game. Usually in the trailer, they end with a fatality that is an actual fatality that somebody has in the game. We got that with Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat X. And then you see in the background, you just see this village here, this new logo. I think it looks absolutely stunning. And once again, he's got the claws here. And here he has them on both arms. And that's the trailer. If there's any other details that you think you spotted that I missed, let me know. And I will make sure to notate them in the comments, and I'll be happy to pin your comment. But let me know any details that you might have caught on that. And that's the trailer. Make sure to let me know of any details that you think I missed, but I think I got all the smaller details that you may have missed when you first watched through it. But thanks for everybody for checking out the video. Make sure to like the video and subscribe because you're not going to miss any of the other coverage that we're doing heading into Mortal Kombat 1, as well as weekly live streams and podcasts where we deep dive into all things relating to Mortal Kombat 1, and you get all sorts of opinions and knowledges at play. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you soon.